Today, we're going to be rating the best ways to maximize your natty potential from game changer all the way down to cope. These are the methods to make sure that you get the most out of your natural journey. Most of you guys are probably natural and you want to max it out as much as you can, whether or not you're going to take steroids in the future. First up, we have natural test boosters. We're going to lump them all into one category. Think ashwagandha, Fedosia agrestis, Tonkat Ali, horny goat weed. There's just a bunch of these products and it's a massive industry and I've pretty much tried them all. Now, do some of them work? Yes, some of them can work, but it's mostly cope. I'm not going to lie. If you're comparing them to actual anabolics, which they're kind of trying to replicate, it's more going to be the mental side effects of having higher testosterone. The main ones, Fedosia agrestis, Tonkat Ali, they will actually increase your testosterone. There's legitimate studies that show that, and for me personally, it did that, but you're not really going to notice any serious gain from this. If you're inside the reference range of testosterone, it doesn't really have a big impact on how much muscle you're going to build. Jeff Nippert actually proved this in a recent video as well. And okay, you can get your testosterone to the upper end of the natural level, and yeah, you might see some great mental effects from that, but anabolic wise, next to no effect. I'm going to put this straight to cope. Yeah, unfortunately it's going to cope. And you have to remember, we're comparing these to actual anabolics. So next we have a supplement that actually works, which is creatine. Creatine is probably the most studied fitness supplement and it works. It's not cope. I've taken creatine. Yeah, there's pretty much no reason to not take creatine. You can see up to 33% more strength gain and 2 to 4 pounds of extra muscle per year. It's essentially free gains. Not to mention it's dirt cheap because it's so easily accessible, and I can actually notice when I'm taking creatine and then when I just forget to take my creatine. This is a big problem. I actually wasn't taking it consistently, and this is what I've been doing with a lot of my supplements, and you could probably relate. I just forgot to take it because it's kind of just a hassle. You know, you have to put the powder in the drink, and it's just something that you forget. A massive hack is to simply just get creatine gummies. Creatine gummies taste fucking great, especially these ones. That's why when Tasty Gains reached out to us, I said fucking absolutely. They've got third-party testing on their website. It's legitimate creatine gummies. You'll notice the tub is empty, so it's very dangerous. I was having like 10-15 grams a day. These ones will be the first link in the description. Once again, I recommend them. We've had tons of sponsors reach out to us. We haven't taken any of them, and these have been the most legit ones. I'm gonna have to put creatine straight to game changer because 100%. If you've never taken it, and then I do have to mention though, there are some people that don't respond amazing to creatine. The genetic response to creatine is pretty widespread, so keep that in mind. Next, we have tracking metrics. So whether that be tracking your progressive overload, lifting in the gym, or even tracking your diet. So just keeping notes on everything that you're doing related to fitness. I'm just gonna say it right now, it's a fucking game changer. I mean, most people aren't tracking, let's be real. Most people go into the gym, they lift what they think they should be lifting and could lift, and they pretty much eat based on intuition. This is great when you're 4 to 5 years into lifting, but when you're starting out, you should be religiously, almost obsessively tracking everything, not only because you want to see the numbers go up, but also because you want to get a great idea of what foods contain what macronutrients, what the rate of progression for you should look like. It just gives you a way better scope on your whole fitness situation. Yeah, I think the only times we've fallen off realistically is just when we haven't been tracking. If you're not tracking, you're slacking. It's as simple as that. This has to go into game changer. Next, we have whey protein. I love whey protein. There's a lot of criticism online about it because it contains artificial sweeteners. It's not real food. Yes, I agree, it's not real food, but cut the bullshit. People are busy, people have obligations, people have jobs, school, uni, studying, and this is a great way to, add it to your drink. Mix it with some oats. Very practical, dirt cheap. It's an easy way to get protein. It's actually the most bioavailable protein despite popular belief. People that aren't into fitness sort of see whey protein as a steroid though. They think it's like a game changer, and usually when I'm coaching people or like even my friends, it's one of the first questions they ask me is, should I start taking whey protein? Like acting as if it's some sort of drug. It's just a macronutrient. It's just like a food. It's a food product. It's just solidified milk extract. So like most people are eating enough protein that are going to the gym because they're eating chicken, they're eating beef, and protein is kind of overrated in the gym scene. Most people are eating almost enough protein, and you don't need to constantly jam protein down your throat. I'm going to say though, when you're on a cut specifically as well, when you're struggling to hit that protein goal, I'm going to put into helps a bit. Next, we have sleeping. Now, sleeping is when you recharge. It's when you build your muscle. It's when you build your testosterone. You have to get sleep if you want to put on muscle. Now, do I get sleep? Let's not talk about it. Do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, just talking about life quality and in general, you have to get your sleep, all right? All right, I'm going to not cope, and I'm just going to go with the studies. I was going to put it into very helpful, but we have to admit it's a game changer because, I mean, the research backs that good sleep is, in fact, a massive boost to your muscle gain. Next, we have bulking, okay? So there's a couple ways you could go about this. You could do the dirty bulk that people promote. You could do the clean bulk. Some people say you can just main gain forever. But let's keep it real, okay? At the start of your gym journey, you want to bulk. I'm not telling you that you have to go into like a dirty bulk and some crazy surplus because it's not really going to have any tactical advantage to it. But to put on size, you physically have to be in a bulk, a calorie surplus. If you're just hitting the gym and not hitting your calorie goals, you're just not growing. I'm sorry. Although you can recomp, we're not saying you can't do that. You can gain muscle and lose fat at a maintenance or even in a calorie deficit, but not forever. At some point, you're going to run out of fat to lose, and then you're going to start tanking your muscle. You need to be in a calorie surplus to gain weight. And over the long run, if you're putting on muscle and keeping the same body fat percentage, you have to put on weight. So a bulk is almost essential, and you should be bulking for a longer portion of time than you're cutting. However, is it a game changer? I really don't think so. I think a lot of guys can get away with a lean bulk and then sort of just maintain, keep a nice lean physique and slowly gain muscle over time. Because when we're referring to bulk, we're referring to like excessive calorie surpluses. For my personal story, I'm going to put it in very helpful, but for already overweight guys and guys that didn't start off literally fucking emaciated, I'll put it in very helpful. Next, we have the exact opposite, and that's getting shredded. Getting lean will fix your body dysmorphia. A lot of the time where I'm like, damn, am I even big? And I look like shit. And then if I actually just strip away the fat and get really down to like 10% body fat, I'm like, oh yeah, I actually look pretty good. My waist shrinks, my abs really come in, and stuff starts to separate. However, as a natural, you will find a lot of the time you have to sacrifice some size when you get lean. Enhanced guys can get lean, build size. You can't do that as a natural. You have to really pick one or the other once you hit that natural ceiling. It's, do you want to look big in clothes or do you want to look big shirtless? You can't really have both. Yeah, this is the depressing reality of being a natural. And I know you see all your favorite influencers online. They're shredded, they're jacked, they've got like striations and veins everywhere. And then you try to do the same thing and you just look kind of small, and then you go straight back into the bulk where you felt big. It is a pretty vicious cycle as a natural. However, you're always going to look better, leaner, despite what people say. That's my own personal opinion anyway. In terms of the physique aesthetics, for people who haven't been lean before, would you say it's a game changer? It's a game changer for how you look. Yeah. For long-term progress, it's almost going to be a hindrance. So I'm going to have to put it in the middle and go very helpful. All right, next we have the Spartan Protocol. Shameless plug, I don't give a fuck. If you don't have a diet plan, if you don't have a dialed-in nutrition plan alongside a training plan specifically catered towards you alongside boys to keep you accountable, then I don't know what you're doing, especially when it's less than Netflix. I mean, you could either keep watching Netflix, sitting in bed all day with your wife, getting pity hand jobs every single year, or you could literally change your fucking life for $9, man. I mean, this has to go in game changer. That is my non-biased objective opinion. And you can find that in the second link in the description. Next, we have switching to a whole foods diet. This is one of the biggest hacks ever. I mean, it shouldn't even be a hack. It should just be by default. But I think by default, most people's diets are fucked. Almost everything they buy is packaged. And if you actually have a good look at what's in people's shopping carts the next time you go to the shops, it's fucking appalling. And you realize most people's shopping carts are full, like full to the brim of just boxes of bullshit. And I'm just thinking, when I go buy a week's worth of shopping, for me and Nelson, we don't even fill up half a shopping cart because it's whole foods and you really don't need a lot. And in terms of how you feel, they say macronutrients determine how you look, micronutrients determine how you feel. And it is so true. Your mental clarity, even just how your skin looks, your general health markers will all improve on whole foods. This is what we looked like when we were eating mainly processed stuff. And the thing is, you're watching all these influencers and all of these bodybuilders do these shopping hauls and they're just eating cereals and all this sugary shit. That's because their bodies work as literal furnaces. They can eat all this bullshit because it gets partitioned into literally lean fucking muscle tissue. And because they have the testosterone and all the other anabolics, they feel great. But if you're trying to do that naturally, and what me and Will tried to do at the start, because I was listening to these guys who were just blasting gear, it didn't work. Yeah, and even in terms of what it does to your brain, I mean, you will crave this stuff for the rest of your life if you constantly eat it. People that constantly eat processed food wouldn't believe that guys solely on whole food diets for long periods of time don't crave that shit anymore. You're training your brain to enjoy bullshit food. I'm going to say switching to a whole foods diet could be the domino effect to fixing everything else in your life. I'm going to put this into game changer. Has to go. Next, we have peptides. Okay, so we're going to call these natties simply because, come on boys, we got to give the natties something. So we're going to say peptides are natural for the sake of the video. And I do think honestly they are, because you can't really get that much of a result out of them to really justify calling it an anabolic. And there's plenty of them and they all have their use case. And I think they're great. You got retatrutide that's trending right now, BPC for healing. You've got melanotan to tan. I mean, it's pretty much like a mod menu for life. I have done melanotan. I'm yet to try BPC. I want to try that on my shoulder. I wouldn't say it's a game changer because you can get perfectly good results. But like you said, it's like adding DLC packs to your already natural lifting journey. But in terms of putting on muscle, you can really live without this stuff. I'm going to put it to helps a bit. Yeah. And that was the list. I bet a bunch of you disagree with this because you probably like buzzwords. And the fact of the matter is with this is the foundations are always going to be the most important thing. If you nail the foundation of your training, that's what's going to give you the best results. All the other stuff is nice little additions, but get your nutrition, get your sleep, and get your plan down pat, and that will be the biggest game changer of all. However, guys, no matter how much you optimize all this and you implement all these natty protocols, never expect steroid-like results, and don't even expect the results naturals get with 0.1% genetics. We preach this in every video, and I just think it's misleading. People you see online have been selected to show on your feed because they have the most elite genetics. But I think if you do dial everything in, you could probably achieve more than you think. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate all the support recently, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.